Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's podcast, we're going to deep dive into the foundations of the Taoist Seeker's Path, what that means from a spiritual, energetic, and physical obtainment, and how you access and navigate through what you would perceive as your human condition and entry into first person, third person, no person. And through this very clear pathway and realization that we give you the step-by-step understanding of that. And don't forget to stay to the end as we will embody and share with you a most sacred prayer that will completely emulate this very moment, and you will feel it at a subatomic level. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome to the Consciousness of the Way. My divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade.
Good morning.
Howdy doody. Another amazing day in paradise.
Yeah.
Hello from the other side. Yeah, we back. Mm-hmm. We back, you know. Real recognized, real street cred is recognized up in here. In any case, we back. It's been a long time coming. Fantastic things are rising, things are percolating, things are creating, as they always do. Remember, the now is all you have. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, the present moment is how you capture all things. Mm-hmm. And what better way to enter into a conversation about that inner working, that innate, intuitive understanding about these things, what it takes. Absolute truth is in the eyes of the beholder.
Is this true?
Now, what does that mean? Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. And this is how you're able to validate this very experience. As the seeker, the Taoist seeker, this is the very refinement of your knowing. If you're thinking, you are not knowing. If you're knowing, you are feeling. And this is why Jade and I, ambassadors to these very ancient teachings, emulate those and transcend them in this very realm for the seeker to realize and remember who they really are. So, using these types of techniques, you create an awareness. And where do you start? Where do you go from here? How do you recover, rediscover, redefine, remember who you are? It always starts with the feeling. Mm-hmm. And so the simplicity of that, the echoing effects of, people's absolute. And that can always be problematic. When people become set in their ways, what an interesting expression. This is the very limitation that if you come from biology, neurology, psychology, physiology, you are limited. This is a foundational knowing for a Taoist seeker. The entry level is always this. Your emotions don't control you, you control your emotions. And when you discover this and realize this epiphany, it has an echoing, rippling effect. And it brings us to the power of the Tao, the mother of all things, and we always present it in the simplicity of the now. And we refer to it quite simply. Everything from perfection is altered with a light to wave to matter particle. This is a gradient shift that is so, instant that you may very well not notice the gradient, the properties, the profiles of these energetic potential, because you are stuck in the past. You are stuck in the personality. You are stuck in what you perceive as your human condition. From that, you get bound by this very limited perception. And it starts and ends with the material. Now, when we talk about that, we talk about the substance. We talk about the chi. We talk about the mother, which is a completely different from the electromagnetic spectrum that you are witnessing, that you are bound by within a dualistic perception within this 3D reality. And that's why, come on down. It's time for you to level up. You're no longer an NPC. It's time for you to be a player. First person, third person, no person is this very moment, and this is the power that we all have. It's time to remember.
I think people tend to forget as humans that we have evolved past this ability to simply reproduce and survive. And it's like so many animals are still stuck in that, reproduce, survive, where we have the ability to make choices. We have the ability to evolve with our environment, to evolve with whatever's going on around us, and advance ourselves, advance our consciousness, open our consciousness, be aware of it. We are not limited by this survival mechanism or programming, if I'm a fly and I see a glowing light, I have to fly to it. And then even if I know I'm going to die, I don't have a choice. That's my programming. That's what I do. It's like us as humans, we have the ability to make choices of, okay, if I put my hand in a fire and it doesn't feel good, I don't have to do that again. I can choose something else. I don't have to just walk off a cliff because I'm walking. I don't have to just make babies and then die. And then I know my race keeps going on. It's like we actually have that entire ability where we're constantly changing, shifting, evolving, opening, being aware of all this stuff in a picosecond. We have that ability and skill, and yet, we still continue to let this programming, whether it be emotions or anything else, dictate how we want to achieve what we want to achieve.
Amen to that. Woo! Woo! And, now it gets down with a get down. These practices, these insightful realizations of what the truth is, to the seeker, to the Taoist seeker, is what we speak of. If you're on this channel, you are inspired, you are motivated, you are curious about the Taoist seeking path that we call the mother. And so what takes place, that chill that you receive right now, that feeling you're getting, this is what is a fantastic indicator of being on center point. We talk about the center. We talk about what is all things. Within Taoism, we make it very clear. Everything is the bellows. It's a representation of this dualistic perception. Everything is contracting and expanding at the same time. You are all things and nothing at the same time. That means that the center point is what we call the Wu Ji. Between the breath in and the breath out, that is between the yin and the yang. That is where the ooey gooey center is, the stillness. This is where you access what we are familiar with through expressions, through throwaway sort of like one-liners that you've heard over and over again in your unconscious behavior through your journey as a human being. You have heard this 1,000 times in the flow. Well, you know where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from the Tao, baby. That's right. You are not here because it's a coincidence. There are none. That realization is self-evident because you are listening to my very voice, Jade and I, right now. And so that power is percolating. It's oscillating. It's visceral. That's what gives you an indication of being in the center point. And so when you go looking, the simplicity of contracting and expanding comes down to the bellows, the understanding that you're all things and nothing at the same time. And we reference this as when you're at your lowest, you're at your highest. This perception, this limited perception from a humanistic viewpoint would be the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the basically, it's like unraveling or deciphering the labyrinth. It's really simple. It's a straight line. But you have been given this idea that there are all these zigzags and these linear sort of paths that you have to walk on to arrive to a conclusion. This is the misdirection that we speak of within Taoism. The way to walk is not the way. The name that is named is not the name. Tao is both named and nameless. Ooh, baby. And you know this. You intuitively know this. This is why you are here. And so, as ambassadors to this very insight, remembering who I am, Jade remembering who she is, as representations of this Taoist lineage that goes on for thousands of years, we bring you the nurturing, profound insight and mastery that comes with the alchemical processes of Taoist alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get into the deeper nature of it, it comes in all forms. It's been regurgitated. Unfortunately, Taoism and all indigenous ancient practices have, for some strange reason, been transmuted into, how do I put it? It's like the very recycling effect of all things. If you were to suffer the insight into the human's understanding of mitochondria, the energy pathway from ATP all the way to muscle contraction, which is basically the starting flame, the spark that it takes to access glycogen, which is what's within the muscle tissue, that gives you the ability to create the energy necessary to contract the muscles. So we get back to a cycle. If you stand back in human history in the last 100 years and the evolution, the realization of what's necessary to master this 50 trillion cells. This has been a knowing for a Taoist for hundreds of thousands of years. And today, you would perceive it as controlled remote viewing, psychic abilities, mediumship, channeling, energetic healing, mental, emotional, spiritual healing, all these gradients and variables that truly return back to the same place, which is what we are speaking of. Contracting and expanding
And just to interrupt you, don't you think that like over the years too, like when we talk about like what you can do, our abilities as a Taoist, it's like we never limited it by like, oh, I have psychic capabilities. I have clairvoyant capabilities. I have mediumship capabilities. Like, don't you think they've purposely tried to isolate and separate into these little tiny categories of, oh no, I'm a medium. Oh no, I'm a psychic. We're different. We do different things, and it's like, no, we're all human and healers, and with that capability we can do all of this. But they've purposely kind of like, oh, I need to add a category to this. I need to add a name for this particular thing that you do. You remote view, to separate kind of this skill and ability that we all have. We just have forgotten.
Very, very, very succinct and profound insight. Because, you've heard this before. You have gifts. We all have gifts. Some of them are this, some of them are that. I'm just so blessed by God. And then the guy next to you is like, what the? God ain't giving me I ain't getting squat out of this replay. Why is it that I don't get squat? I pray to God, yet you're blessed, right? Oh, blessed, blessed, blessed. I'm blessed. Really? This is, again, part of the psyop.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is a collective onslaught of your psyche. And so as you merge these things, and more recently, this has been going on for thousands of years, yet more recently in the last 100, the understanding of how to really delve deep into controlling someone's behavior, their insight, their perception by the spoken word, letters, numbers, symbols, they're all integrated into the very fabric, the subatomic particles that make up what you conceive as the flesh and blood you see before you, reflecting in the mirror as you perceive as your identity. There is this reference to a collective, and it's not a spiritual collective to join us as one. It's a collective to separate you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what happens is, the idea is like, oh, we have gifts and we all have our own gifts and some are better than others. There's a method to all cultivation. When you get an insight, when you get a taste, you need to go to the center of that. And with the correct method, you're able to cultivate that and get the insight and the mastery that's necessary for you to refine that and make it repeatable. That's available to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you say, oh, my gifts are different to yours and we're all different, and so this in of itself, just that language can put you five notches behind this present moment. And it separates you, giving you these layers that you have to step over to remember who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so most people don't do it consciously, but there are a very elite few that do it to make you confused, make you separated, make you limited. So these types of this type of terminology that we speak of needs to be addressed. So within Taoism, Taoist seeker is the accelerated effects of these 9 levels of ascension. Physical body, energetic body, spiritual body, sun body, earth body, moon body, and finally oneness body, ultimate body, and then being one with all, direct source information, baby. And that comes with a cultivating dialogue. And I have this all day long with all my teachers. Direct source information. I channel over 171 of them. Lao Tzu included, being my very reference to that access point. We consider this perfection. And so when I have a dialogue with my teachers, that is a facet of the diamond of perfection. Ultimately, the access of that information is the monologue that you see before you that is direct source. Now, how is that validated, Jefu? Wow. What an interesting question. Thank you for asking that. Am I talking in the third person, or am I having a psychotic rhythm? Oh. In any case, what happens is you need an entry level. This is why we've taken ancient practices, integrated them into a digital offering. You're an OG, you get into the Way 126 experience, you're off to the races on your own journey of realization. Then you go deeper and you use the scripture, which I just transcribed with Lao Tzu directly, 2024 version, giving you a head banger, a banger of an insight, because it's visceral. The somatic response that you have from the syntax of the words are absolutely priceless. And you can't deny it. It's visceral. That's the whole point. If you are thinking, you are not knowing. If you're knowing, you are feeling. But the realization is, when you're the master, the keeper, the creator of your reality, all bets are off. All this other stuff is nonsensical. Oh, Jefu, that sounds like a judgment. I love talking in the third person. Guess what? You have a personality. Do not expend an ounce of energy attempting to alter that. The more and more you resonate, as you understand within this electromagnetic spectrum, there is a processes. And the processes is quite simple. Light to wave to matter to particle, you have this realization through your attention, intention, creating what you perceive as your reality. That is it. That's the simplicity of it, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. And no matter how tangible or intangible you perceive it, it's your truth and the only truth you need to be concerned with. And then that generates where we have the jump-off point to start you on your journey with a thought, feeling, and emotion that cultivates the very soundtrack that you are either embodying as what we define as Wu Wei, effortless action, effortless effort, being done by the Tao, or you are separate. You are personality. And so as you cultivate these energetic properties, because this is the key to all things, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, you must have your energetics very, very well in tune, synchronized. The energy centers must be synchronized for you to be in the flow. This is where it's a game changer, right? So the game changer starts with that. So when someone goes, oh, I'm New Age, I feel energy, I see spirits, it's fluff. It has no weight to it. Show me. I am the Pepsi challenge guy. I'll take the Pepsi challenge with anybody on this stuff. Show me. That's all it comes down to. Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. Yet, so many people enter into this space and they get a glimpse and they dismiss that there is a cultivational practice that you should generate to create this substance so that you can move things on and off like a computer screen. The icons on a computer screen is this cultivation that I speak of. And so, I get people all day long applying to become students, applying to become disciples, applying to get insight. And that's where Jade and I have created this platform to give people a level up. And if you want to go deeper, There's other training that we are releasing. And we've, Jeffrey, you said that for like 2 months. It's there. My time and attention is spread throughout many things across this incredible realm on a daily. What I obtain and access to, most people wouldn't achieve that on a biological level within a year. Mm-hmm. And I obtain that within a day. And that's a tall order. Yet it's not exhausting to me, because when we remember, everything is a bellows. Man is not like that. Remember this. Let this echo in your mind. And that is the jump-off point of your separation, and how you realize that all things are tiring for you. Oh my goodness, thank goodness it's Friday. Oh my goodness, it's the Monday morning blues. This is your captured attention, not as an observer. You are participating as this human being suffering to the human condition, which again is a viewpoint. And by doing that, you are measuring every second of every minute of every hour. And that's the mundane, miserable existence that you are operating in. And it's straight up lies.
Yeah.
Yet you are being tortured by this. And the first red flag, you want to get a taste. Jiffa, well, how can I know if I'm doing that? Tell me by the end of your day whether you're exhausted. My own children, through their own admission, look at me and go, how do you do with that? You just keep on going like the ever-ready buddy. Because I'm the now. I'm the present moment. And by accessing that through the Taoist alchemy, I am abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. Yeah, baby.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I can attest to that. I mean, I don't think I ever see you stop.
Right. But, this is also, you look, you need to understand that the nurturing moment of absorbing that is, you don't want to get distracted by allowing your physicality to be drained. Mm-mm. This is why we are the ambassadors and highly suggest and promote understanding the internal alchemy and the cultivation of that. Now, the side effects are, variables that can go into what people consider supernatural, beyond this realm. They're just the potential that you have access to when you realize you are the now. Mm-hmm. That's all. And there are direct methods that have been going on for hundreds of thousands of years, handed down from generation to generation, that give you that very insight. And we have taken it to a whole nother level, because I do not only just take the ancient rituals that have been handed to me and trained for me as an ordained priest, but I give you deeper insight by the direct source of where this information comes from that is second to none. There isn't another place on planet Earth that can access that stuff. And I will show you. And so, you get the red flag. Thank goodness it's Friday. The Monday blues. How many minutes has it been in the day? Oh my goodness, I'm exhausted. What a long day that was. Oh, that person was really difficult. All the suffering. This is part of the human condition. This is the distraction. This is why we talk about the name that can be named is not the name. And that's the right there. The Jade Emperor speaks on it. I remind you of this. When you believe that you are not of this body, what can harm you? Nada. And so the maestro effect of cultivating these 50 trillion cells, or is it 72 trillion? I think it's 50 trillion with a little extra cup of psychotic rhythm. In any case, when you understand that you are the first person, third person, no person, and that the energetic properties are very tangible for you through your cultivational practices. And this is why we always promote and suggest the offering of the energetic Taoist alchemy infrastructure. It puts you in the driving seat. It puts you in a place where you are this present moment. And all of a sudden, all bets are off. Magic is realized. Manifestation is realized. Healing is realized.
Yeah, it's so powerful too. I mean, we were moving stuff the other day, and I moved a table right into my finger and pinched it. And I definitely was not happy about it. It didn't feel good at all. And the reaction was there. And I loved it because you looked at me and you're like, this is the perfect moment for you to heal from that and embrace the healing. And it was like, you're right. You're right. This is, as much as it was like, I don't want to hear this. I want to scream and yell and react to that emotion. It was when you're in that present moment, when you're in that now, when you're aware of what's going on, it's very easy to go, okay, I can, choose to cry and scream about this for the next hour, or I can realize what it is as a healing, as a transformation, and I can allow that to happen. And you just release it from you, and you feel it. You feel this cathartic, kind of expansive, deep breath, whatever you want to call it. And it's powerful to be able to do that and stay within that present moment, because that's what it truly is. And I think for anyone who has kids or has gone through that kind of cycle of watching your kids grow up, the days, most people look at it and the days always feel so long, but the years feel so short. Oh my God, my son was 2 years old and now he just graduated high school. Or, you have these moments and you go, wait a second though. I remember him being 2 years old and I couldn't even get through a month because he was in his tantrum stage, or, you know what I mean? And it's very interesting when you stay in that present moment, the power that can have.
Amen to that. I'm buying whatever she's selling. I'm buying. Sign me up. Because, you need to understand that there are no coincidences. Right? Realize that. So, what would the effects of Jade banging her finger into a wall and the table compressing her specific finger? Now, everything is a macro of a micro. So, if you've even heard of reflexology, or understand that within ancient Taoist practices, which is the seat of all of Chinese culture, we use that as a very quick way to access certain things. So from something as simplistic as a TCM, you can look at,
What's a TCM?
Traditional Chinese medicine.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought,
No, it's
anyways.
traditional circadic rhythm.
For anyone who doesn't know, traditional Chinese medicine.
Right. And so, what happens is, for the reveal that is not the truth, because everything is a misdirection, understand that we as the people are caught up in the ego state that people want to call it, that this is all about me. And so you can stay in that for your whole natural born life and miss the level up that is the representation of the spiritual consciousness that is the true now moment. And so you stay in that, you become what most people call curious, and then you go and access 1,000 different methods, 1,000 different trainings, and you're forever going, I just need one more. It's like the addict. It's like, I don't take drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I don't have an obsession of any kind. I'm just curious. Really? You're curiously confused and distracted, because that is The name that can be named is not the name. So when you think you know it all, you know nothing. Mm-hmm. And Jade Emperor will remind you, when you accept you know nothing, you know everything. Would that come back to the understanding of the bellows? Mm-hmm. That you're all things and nothing at the same time. Oh, yeah, baby. So now we need to get down to what that truly means from a human's perspective. First and foremost, you are an ambassador. Macro over micro, you are the universe. So when Jade hit her finger, and this is basically a roadmap to all the meridians within her body, which are energy channels that have been represented within Chinese medicine for thousands of years. They've been validated through other indigenous practices, Hindu, yogi. People are familiar with this. Now, the misdirection on that is there are not 12 channels. There are 81. Oh, Jeffu, now I'm getting a little giddy. Now you're blowing my mind. Well, yeah, you can feel it. You know this. I thought I'd just give you a little level up, because then all of a sudden everyone goes, well, you said that if you know everything, you know nothing. That's right. So this whole deciphering of polymath and geometry and all the things that are very popular right now, everything is numbers, letters, words, symbols. They're integrated into the very fabric of you. And so you gravitate to whatever you gravitate to. The highest number within a Taoist seeker's path, a Taoist path, is the number 9, which is representative in all facets of your journey. And you'll realize it in the simplicity of conception to creation of human life. Oh, Jifu, I think you just blew my mind. I really like this third person stuff, you know what I mean? And so I might have got it from a couple of these talking heads. It kind of works. I don't know. It's an easy way to deliver information. So what I want you to understand is when she hit her finger, one of the channels, one of the limited channels that most people realized, is directly to the heart, to the cardiovascular system. So by her hitting her finger at that specific time, remember, there are no coincidences. Everything happens perfectly. And then when you start to master the energetics, and you realize you can realize and return to what you know to be the truth is this present moment, and have your head blown like you are right now. Oh my goodness, this is a healing. This is not me banging my finger and then I want to get all upset over, who pissed me off because they jammed my finger into the door. That's the distraction. Realizing that you are releasing this energetic potential that has become stagnant, and it's rippling out into the field as an expansive moment, because you're all things and nothing at the same time. The bellows contracting and expanding. Whoa, Jifu. Mind blown, mic drop. Mm-hmm. And so that very moment was to release that. And so the key is, don't attach it to a place, person, or thing. And you will just go, oh my goodness, this is a healing moment. And you will feel the visceral response, the somatic response, because everything is energy, frequency, vibration. And then, of course, you go to the substance that we call the perfection that this reality, this realm is carved from, that is cut from that cloth. And then you are subject to duality, the electromagnetic spectrum. That's where we get down with the alchemy, and we use the alchemy, we use the fundamentals. Some people would consider the baseline of that, the periodic table. That's just a jump-off point, my friends. But when we use the incredible precious elements of this reality, this realm, you fuse that within the energetic potential that you have, creating the crystalline effect, which is perfection. And you get down to all these intricate parts of realization of remembering who you are. And that is the critical effect. And by doing that, you become a facet, a conscious facet, a spiritual conscious facet of that perfection. And that raises the collective. That raises the spiritual conscious collective. And therefore, you become in service to others. You return to your original natural state of being selfless. And that will be a reflection of how you perceive things. And that is no place, no person, no thing. You're just now. And then most people will go, Jifu, well, I want the alchemy, I want the Bruce Lee stuff, I want all that energetic stuff, I want to do all this healing. I'm like, that's part of it. That's the effects, the side effects of your journey as a Taoist seeker. Yet you must remember, you will become effortless. Wu Wei, effortless action. When do you know you access that point, that Wu Ji point, that stillness, is when you do things without thought. And so most people reflect on that as an unconscious behavior, an autonomous behavior that is integrated into, I got in my car and I passed out, I woke up, I got to work. I don't know what happened with the last 45 minutes. Now, this is just an entry level of a state of absence. Now, when you go deeper into the training, you're 100% conscious. You merge that together. So you can access this present moment and the energetic potential of anything and everything at once, because you are all and nothing at the same time. And then it's like, booyah, you're off to the races. And so that potential is realized through the 5 stages that Lao Tzu always repeats. Concept, consciousness, knowing, unconscious knowing, being one with all. You feel that, baby. And so these are all part of the Taoist seeker's journey. Mm-hmm. And it always returns back to the energetics, baby. Everyone returns back to it. When they get involved with being in service or the idea of it and they're entertaining it, you become exhausted because you are not accessing the mother. You are accessing your life force. So massage therapists, light workers, healers, Reiki masters, Qigong masters, they become spent because they get stuck in their ego. They tap into their own life force. And literally that old expression, you're selling your soul, you literally are trickling out through your attention, intention, the very essence of this physicality, which becomes problematic because it shortens the inevitable mortality that you are subject to from this physical flesh. And that's why Taoist seekers nurture that immortality through this practices to lengthen this journey in this incarnation so that you can level up your consciousness. As an ambassador, the truth is the distraction. Absolute truth is only held within the seeker. Mm-hmm. And that will be determined by you. Anyone that gives you one, run in the other direction. We are imparting and embodying and teaching ancient methods to help you cultivate and return and remember who you are. That's what the Taoist knowing is. That's what the mother is that self-evident, repeatable experience that you are the now. And that's the beauty of what we speak of as a Taoist. All is one, one is all.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's so important. You say who you are, not who I am, and then me telling you who I am so you can replicate who I am to be like me. You know what I mean? Like that's the absolute truth. That could be my truth, that could be my experience, that could be my journey, but having you try to replicate that and make it your own doesn't make any sense. it's yours. You have to do it. It has to be within you. No two bodies are the same. And so, you wouldn't go to someone else's body and say, "Oh, my cells are healing my shoulder pain right now. Your cells should be healing my shoulder pain in your body." I mean, it just, you think about it that way, it just doesn't make sense. It's like your body knows exactly what is necessary for you and what needs to be there to create that perfection. So my perfection is my perfection. Your perfection is your perfection. We can both be perfection, but you don't have to be mine or my absolute perfection. You know what I mean?
Right. I think what's most important is to realize that we all return. So all rivers return to the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And so on that journey, you will identify from this human condition perspective when you fall into the one, when you fall into the nothing, when you fall into the now. You are me, I am you.
Yeah.
And so Jade's identification of that, in essence, means that journey towards you're realizing you are the now. And now when you're at the now, we are one. So when healing is present, and you say healing as you are present, then that healing will take place within Jade. That will take place within the community, the stratosphere, the universe instantaneously. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that comes back to the same thing. It's like, again, how you always say there's many paths up the mountain, all rivers return back to the ocean. However you want to use the analogy for it, don't get caught in someone's limited idea of how it needs to be. It has to be this absolute way. It has to be this is the only way. I do it this way. Everyone has to do it this way. That is limited. That is going to distract you and keep you stuck and not returning to, the mother, the Tao, the source, God, Buddha, Jesus, whatever it is that higher frequency and resonance that you feel. You feel that, that.
And that's why when we give you these cultivational practices, you start to identify through different layers of sensory perception,
Mm-hmm.
a language that works for you. And so, I recently interviewed a remote viewer, and part of the training that she gives to others is, this dialogue that you have with your unconscious, which would be sort of, from a baseline level of understanding from a Taoist alchemy processes, sure, it's part of the physical, and that in turn would relate to the conscious and unconscious processes. So she's really using techniques that are more entry level, which are, you have to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But she uses what they call ideograms that basically identify with this dialogue that you're having with your unconscious to create a language. So, simple things like a river, give me an image, a biological object or person, give me an image. And so you can have this dialogue with your unconscious, and it will start to correlate this information, which is on a baseline entry level to, states of now. It's a starting point. So in the end, when you return to remembering who you are, it reveals your past lives. We show you how to access the clairsenses and develop those skills so they're replicable, repeatable on a daily, as it should be, because that's the truth of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the human condition is the distraction. The human condition is the idea that you understand and know the truth. And that's where it comes in these forms. all these types of principles, all these types of laws, all this type of messaging that would assume that you have the complete understanding. Remember, when you accept you know nothing, you know everything. Everything is all things and nothing at the same time. And so when you think you know everything, you know nothing, baby. And so we always remind ourselves, the student is the teacher is the student. Never lose sight of that. And you will be in the now indefinitely. And so with that, you get a very clear insight. And this was necessary for us to get back to a deeper nature of this stuff, giving you foundational work. The Tao Te Ching is available for anyone, the transcribed version. It is visceral. It gives you all the levels, because each verse is an incantation. This is what we call a magical register within our Taoist path. And it will be self-evident. You will realize it immediately, go, holy jifu. And you're welcome. That's all I can say. You're welcome. And so with that mastered, template, the 81 verses are a living scripture, a living incantation. You take the incantation, there's a processes that is given to you within the Tao Te Ching, and we teach you how to embody that, and it becomes even more visceral as you continue to cultivate. And it has each incantation has a level of spiritual conscious awareness that takes place within that embodiment, and also a frequency. And then on a deeper level, you apply that as a manual within another deeper method we call Taoist rites, and that will be available momentarily. So you apply these things, so you have the foundation. You can start with the Way 126 experience. It gives you a foundation. It masters your emotions. And, the instant side effect is you can start measuring your developed cultivational skills the first time you use it. And that's key. That's critical. And so you add all these tools together and you become who you really are, which is the now. You remember who you really are. And that will be self-evident by what is potential, what is the now. Anything is possible. You're abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool too, because people always ask us, like, how is this possible? I'm watching a video or a podcast, or I'm listening to a podcast and I'm feeling energy. How am I feeling it through a camera? How am I feeling it through just listening to you, through my headphones? And not only that, you filmed this a month ago. Like, we get that all the time. And, the Tao Te Ching is no different. You read it and you go, how are the words like floating in front of me? How am I reading something, but I'm feeling it. I'm not even just reading it. And that's the power of the Tao Te Ching, the living scripture, and especially channeled directly from Lao Tzu. It's that essence is embedded within it. And that's part of the Taoist mastery is you'll begin to start feeling that and really having it activate within you the more you read. And every time you read it, it will be a little different depending on what frequency you're at that moment.
Right. And you're off to the races, baby. With that, I feel like we've given a great entry level. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We're back, baby. You said that before, Jifu. I love this third-person business.
Yes.
Now we're back, and so you'll get a daily injection of the Jade and San Qing show, on top of bi-weekly channels from Lao Tzu. We'll also be offering a weekly healing session that will be a community offering. You can jump in on that. It will be 1 hour. You can access that through a LinkedIn page, which should be up within the next day or so. So if you want to get into embodying this, from week to week, I'll have guest healers will work together and give you some super juice experiences. That will be the now, and that's what we talk about. And so all that will be available at your fingertips momentarily. So, with that said, in closing, my dear friend, is there anything you would like to impart, any thoughts, feelings, or emotions before we finish our incredible re-entry to the knowing with a very simple expression of this now moment that will empower you? It will be visceral. The somatic response from your physical flesh will indicate you are where you need to be.
I hope I'm more than a friend. Yes.
Of course you are.
Oh, great. Yeah,
you're my bestie.
Yes, getting back to that experience of feeling through the camera. How weird is it? It is not, because we are all connected. When you tap into, whether you want to call it quantum, source, flow, it's that frequency and resonance that is undeniable.
Yeah. And so without further ado, as you already feel the percolation, the OGs, guests, new people to the podcast, welcome, come on down. The price is right. And so you already feel this resonance. And it's like, Jeffu, you're like David Blaine. How do you do this? Well, I just am the now. And so we're going to impart and close this for a moment, because we're already in tune to all the viewers. How could you say that? You just recorded this. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm watching it now, because the present moment is abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite, and you will experience it. Whether you watch it now, you watch it in a week, you watch it in a year, you will experience this visceral feeling, this kinesthetic response. And so I will end with a prayer. I will end with an incantation that will rock your socks off. So in closing, the power that is present, that is embodied within my breath, we welcome this present moment to center, to return all to this spoken word, to this now, through this percolation, this oscillation. We welcome the Mother to envelop the physical. We thank the Tao for returning us to this present moment. Enter and embody this powerful, audible, inaudible experience with unconditional love and acceptance. I welcome. All is one, one is all. Inhale that, exhale that, and let that vibrate, resonate through your very essence. Sit with it. Whether you hear my voice in a distance or you are now, stay with that until it continues and finishes its expression of this moment. It may be a minute, it may be an hour. Let it resonate till it returns. And I am your humble servant and Sifu Taoist Master San Qing. And I will see you on the next one, guys.